Well, now that we're old friends, you can, really tell me the real scoop about this. But I have to say, congratulations on this. You guys did an absolutely phenomenal
Thank you.
job. And I am not a horror girl. I get so scared going to these films. But what I loved about this film, it just felt so real. Was that, because of the documentary aspect, I think, was that something when you guys, came on board, you thought, wow, this is something different?
When I first read the script and when we first started working, I think I'm always unsure exactly how it's going to look. I have a problem figuring out how the story's being told, even though we knew it was going to be a documentary style. I was unsure until we actually saw it at the LA Film Festival how that really evolved, and so when I was working on it, Daniel was very much about keeping the scenes real and keeping the connection of when we were talking to one another, and not worrying about where it was being lensed.
Right. Yeah.
Daniel works about 20 or 30 takes for every scene.
Okay, wait, slow down. You did some of those scenes like 20 or 30 times? Like
Yes.
the crazy exorcism things?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Did you have a good night's sleep right after that?
I did. Yes. No, everyone was so nice. They actually went out that day and bought me a huge bag of bath salts and everything, and I just lived in those for a couple days. But yeah, Daniel works about 20 or 30 takes a scene, and to have that freedom and to constantly be allowed to try new things and encouraged and ask to try new ideas and for input and stuff like that, I think that's what helped to create that really deep documentary feel and the real element of it.
I think I'll speak for myself on that because I'm so constantly wanting to show and by doing multiple takes like that kind of wears you down and breaks you down, and then he's able to go ahead and start to pick and choose from some the more real moments, when you're sort of unguarded, you're most natural, and I think that comes across in the film.
Yeah. When you guys met and started working together, it had to have been an instant bond because let's put it this way, you really have to have the trust there to work together to do the scenes that you guys did. Was it an instant chemistry between the two of you?
Between the possessed and the depossessor? I've said this all along, my job was made very easy by Ashley's talent because if she is not as good as she is, and the poster can just tell you that right off the bat, if she's not as committed as she is, then the whole film falls apart. But she is wonderful and grounded, and her work was so solid and real, made my job easy. I walk in and she's being possessed. I'm scared. They'll put the camera on me. That's it because I'm already scared.
It was very scary. I mean, seriously, look at this. Like, this is you doing this stuff. How do you prepare for something like this?
Honestly, I didn't know what was going to be expected of me, so I prepared for everything, and physically for everything. And it's funny, Daniel tells this story as well. The night before the second exorcism scene, Daniel said to me, "What do you want to do tomorrow? Do you have any ideas?" And first of all, to even be asked that question is just huge. And I said, yeah, I've kind of been working on this back bend and some other things. Can I show you? And he goes, yes, put that in. So, it just, the next day we just shot it and it was a part of the scene. So.
And I understand too, you were listening to some tapes, like just exorcism, but that's creepy.
Yeah,
what do you have that on your iPod and you listen on the subway?
I did, yeah.
God.
I listened to it on the plane flight over, which is 10 times as creepy, yeah. It's weird because you'll hear things and you think, oh, that's real. Someone can make that noise,
right?
And then there comes this sound that's just neither masculine or feminine or human or animal, and you just say to yourself, what is that? Like, what's that noise? And
as much as us being able to work together and like becoming friends and whatnot, there is also, because it's me meeting her for the first time, there is also a sense of chemistry or lack thereof really doesn't come into play as much as, I'm trying to figure out a sphinx here. I'm trying to figure out a problem. And so actually we would have these long days of work and these multiple takes, but it wasn't like in between we'd be chatting about the news and stuff like that, because the work was very intense because we'd be doing these long interviews and monologues and whatnot. And she stayed really focused, and it helped me stay focused as well.
How hands-on was somebody like Eli Roth who produced this? Because we know, I mean, let's face it, he's like the gore master. But for this, it's not gore. It's the psychological thing, which I think is always scarier. But was he a hands-on producer?
Well, he was so. First of all, I can't thank him enough for seeing the script and saying yes, because without his enthusiasm, we're not sitting here and the film doesn't get made. He visited set a couple of times, and from my impression, in terms of hands-on, he allowed Daniel to direct the film. It's produced by Eli, but he let Daniel very much to make it his film. But his enthusiasm and his knowledge of what was scary, and I remember him saying, what's the scariest thing we can do? What's the creepiest thing we can do? Let's do that.
Right.
And that was always a good thing to be reminded when you're making the film.
Yeah. So when you guys watched it, did you scare yourself?
I did. That we saw it for the first time at the LA Film Festival, and I went home that night and slept in my old bedroom at my parents' house with the lights on. I scared myself. Yes.
Well, they were probably happy to have you home. No matter how you get there, it doesn't matter. It's always good to have the kids back home.
Yeah.
Well, I was surprised. I forgot, because when you're in it, you forget. I know what's going on in the film, kind of, because again, it was our first time really seeing the final cut, and I was pleasantly surprised when all of a sudden the camera's going around and something happens, and the audience goes, "Oh!"
Right.
And I'm like, "Oh, right, all right, that is creepy. Oh, that is scary," because I kind of knew it was coming up, but I also was taken aback by going a couple of times, which is great.
Yeah.
Nothing's better to be in a film that is going to creep out some 16-year-old boys and girls across the nation.
And also, what I love too is that there's this humor, so you're all like, oh, you're feeling all relaxed, nothing scary is going to happen. And then bang, something happens. That's a classic Eli Roth thing.
So classic. And I think I got a chance to watch him also work a couple times in the editing room, and you see him working, you go, and cut that there, and tweak that there. And he actually builds the suspense of the scene and builds that shock value and that horror.
Yeah.
And he's so masterful at manipulating the audience in just that right way. So
I remember watching Cabin Fever for the first time, not knowing that it was his film, and thinking, who's this smart guy who made this film? Because it's new and old all at the same time, and had a sense of humor and a sense of edit. And one of the great things about that, when we premiered The Last Exorcism at the LA Film Festival, it was at the John Anson Ford Theater, which was the same theater that he premiered Cabin Fever a couple of years back.
Wow.
So there was a really nice synchronicity to
So
the
it's very
whole
good
thing.
luck for you guys, I
I hope so, absolutely.
Yeah. Do you guys remember the very first film that just scared the crap out of you?
I'd have to say The Exorcist. Actually, I saw it when I was about 10, and it scared me.
I still can't look at images of that movie.
No, it totally traumatized me for I think about 2 weeks. Yeah.
Patrick,
I saw The Dark Secret of Harvest Home with Betty Davis, Michael O'Keefe, and that blonde guy who I thought played tennis, but he didn't. I think that's him. But she had a pair of scissors, and there was something about a tongue, and I was not excited about the result, that's for sure.
Yeah, scissors, knives. I'm really glad, by the way, you do not have a knife on you anywhere. I'm very...
Well, I'm
Not
chained
very.
to this chair
Yeah.
for your son.
No, I appreciate that. Well, it's such a pleasure meeting both of you.
Thank you
You've
so
done
much.
such a tremendous job in this,
Thank
and
you.
I know we'll be talking to you for tons more films. But lighten it up next time, okay? Little comedy?
Will
Great.
do.
Thank you so much. Great
Thank
meeting
you.
you guys. Thank you.
you.
Have a really good day. Such a pleasure.